Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Today is Wednesday, the 7th of April, 2021. Listen, I'm having a lot of technical issues. Anyway, going to try to get them resolved, but we're on today. Yesterday, we were having really bad technical issues. Uh, got the show done about 2 times, and it messed up every time. Finally, in the end, you just say, heck with it. Anyway, listen. An awful lot of people out there are expecting the Fed to do something about the inflation we're having right now. We're starting to see the front side of inflation and inflation expectations. Expecting the Fed to do something, and that's something they're expecting the Fed to do is to tighten. Okay? So that's their expectations, that the Fed is going to tighten at some point. Very soon. And they're expecting bond yields to rise way up high. They're expecting the dollar to become super strong and there to be some sort of a crash. This is their expectations. And for us to go into a deflation and the dollars that they're holding to be worth a lot more. And they're still expecting this. That this is not what's going to happen. It's what couldn't happen in 2008. And now that they've enlarged the amount of debt incredibly, this new debt creation and modern monetary theory and everything else, and putting the money out there, huge fiscal stimulus packages that, by the way, can't stop. They're expecting that this has to stop. Well, the Fed just can't keep creating endless amounts of money, can they? Well, you know what you have here is you have the borrower of last resort. And you have the lender of last resort. This has created a money loop now at this point. This isn't going to stop. And when the realization hits out there that what we're going to be seeing is, if not profound inflation, if not hyperinflation, well, the jig's going to be up, so to say. And, out in the Midwest, they have to take down silos. These farmers and things have to take down silos, and oftentimes they'll go in there with a sledgehammer, maybe a cutting saw and stuff, and the silos are made of cement, and they've got rebar inside them and everything else, and they'll be smacking away at that thing until they get a giant hole at the base of the thing, and it's not doing nothing. The silo is still sitting up there in the air, even though it's got a giant hole in the side of it. Giant gaping hole in the side of it. Maybe the farmer will go home for lunch and everything, and the silo will still sitting there. Nothing's happening. Finally, when he takes that last blow with that sledgehammer, that last little bit of concrete crumbles away. When that silo comes down, it comes down really fast. And I'm going to tell you guys something. That's the way with this economy right now. There's a giant gaping hole in the base, and these guys are thinking that the Fed just can't do it. Well, when it comes down, when everything comes down, it's going to come down really, really fast, And I'm going to tell you guys what. I'm here, and I know that this silo is going to come down. The big question mark is when. And this is a very difficult thing to forecast, is exactly when the whole thing's going to come down. But they can't stop with the money creation, because it'll come down now. And they know it. So they've just done a whole big fiscal stimulus packages, massive fiscal stimulus. And we're right in the middle of that right now. So don't expect a crash right now. But when this stimulus package starts to run out, they're going to have to do a lot more. They're going to have to put in new programs like universal basic income, and they're going to have to find new ways of actually getting the money into the economy. And this is why they're thinking about central bank digital currencies, because they can target the money that way. They can actually see by computer. They're not going to have some guy up at the Fed that's analyzing each one of what you pay for something. When you go out and buy something, you think to yourself that they're going to analyze that personally. They would need millions of analysts there looking at what you purchased to see. No, they do it all by computer. The computer scans what you've paid for wherever you've bought something. Like if you bought groceries, the computer can see that. They'll be able to see everything that you buy. Because what'll happen is the computer, when it sees a purchase that's not according to what the computer's looking for. In other words, if you're not out there buying grapes and toilet paper and eggs and stuff like that, if you're buying something unusual, the computer will flag that. And then they come and analyze it with a real person to see what you're purchasing. And this is what central bank digital currency is all about. And they're going to have it. They're going to get rid of cash because they can't see cash. When you got cash in your wallet, they can't see where you're spending that and what you're doing with it. They want to have this system so that they can target spending, so that they can target and make sure that people are actually spending their money as they get it and they're not hoarding it or saving it away somehow. And how can you save away when cash is gone? If you're going to save away in fiat currencies, how are you going to do that when there is no cash? How are you even going to make a withdrawal from the bank? You go into the bank after cash is gone. They've got these new central bank digital currencies out there. Still the dollar. They'll still probably call it the dollar. Just be a digital blockchain dollar. This is going to make so many changes to the system, having a central bank digital currency. Changes to your life. But how do you make a withdrawal anymore from the bank? You go into the bank, you say, well, I want to take out my money, and they're going to say, well, how? We don't have any cash here. Cash has been gone for a long time. You know, I'm going to tell you guys something. Just a matter of a year or two ago, I went into the bank, and the bank teller was there. I was just talking casually and stuff, you know. And I was saying, you know, and this was before the coronavirus or anything else, you know. And we were just talking casually. And I mentioned to her, I said, hey, you know, they're going to get rid of cash. She said, oh, that'll never happen. She said, it's just too widely used, she said. You know, and then the other day, I went through the drive-thru on my way into town at a KFC. And I got at the drive-thru, you know. And there was a little sign there in the drive-thru window. It says, yes, we still take cash. And get a notice of those words. Well, those, you know, an awful lot of times you can learn things from listening very carefully. Words like but, when people say but, you know, it says we still. Now there's a word you're looking for, still. Think about that for a minute. We still take cash, still. That has an implication for the future. And even the person that was writing that message or typing it out on the computer, you know, might not have had a full realization of what they were saying, but they picked their words, and the word says, we still take cash. That has an implication for the future, that at some point in the future, they're not going to take cash anymore. We still take cash, you know? Cash is on its way out. And do you know how far it's worked since that year or so, since I said to the lady in the bank, you know how far it's advanced toward being gone? Just in the last year or so? Well, it's on its way out. And when the new central bank digital currencies come in, people are going to love them. You know? Because they've already been trained. They've been trained with their debit cards, you know. And they've already received their training on how to use a cashless society. They go into Walmart, you know, and if you got cash, you got to wait in this big long line up behind a real register, you know. And they'll only have like one or two of those in the Walmart. Take when you're standing there in a big long lineup, look over there at all the cashless registers and the people that are cashing out without using cash. It's Crazyville. And they have people over there teaching them how to do that, you know, if they don't know how. They've been training people. And, you know, a few years ago, I mean, I used to go into the store, anywhere you want to go, anywhere you want to go. You stand in line, and everybody in front of you, this is a few years ago, like 20 years ago, everybody is using cash. Occasional person would use a credit card, like 20 years ago. Now, you stand in line, and you're the odd man out if you got cash. Everybody in front of you is either using a debit card or using their credit card or some other form of payment other than cash. It's on its way out, guys. You know, and so it's moving fast. This whole thing's moving fast. We're moving toward a cashless society. And once they get it cashless, think about this. Then adding digits, just keep adding zeros, is a hidden tax on all savers out there. They're going to do away with all savers. You know, the middle class, we want to talk about the destruction of the middle class. You haven't seen nothing as a destruction that's coming for savers. And anybody out there that's saving in this fiat currencies, this is not the way to go. The way to go is to keep your savings in real hard tangible assets like gold, silver. Those are the two I like the best. Cryptocurrencies, I still don't feel safe with cryptocurrencies. And, you know, yeah, I think it's okay to dabble in cryptocurrencies. But first get you a square footing underneath you before you start to dabble in cryptocurrencies. Start really small and start to learn how they work and how they function before you go out and make a big investment in cryptocurrencies. Learn. Do some learning first. Otherwise, you might send your money into oblivion if you don't know what you're doing, you know, and you go out and you invest in a whole bunch of cryptocurrencies. You might send your money to oblivion. And that's something to think about, you know. First, you got to learn how to do it. And if you do invest in cryptocurrencies, make sure that you get your private key in your possession. The private key to your cryptocurrencies in your possession, and keep it in your possession. Don't leave your cryptocurrencies on the exchange. Anyway, listen, guys, have a great rest of the day. I'm going to try to resolve these technical issues that I'm having with my cameras and stuff. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.